Alright, so this is my third attempt right now trying to make this video, and I forgot a significant importance of the 2014 year. So there was basically our brother had his friend Max, and he was always like they were close, I guess, like for the at the time anyways. Our brother and his friend Max, and then our dad and neighbor upstairs lady, they were pretty close because of the dope and stuff. And anyways, so Max was coming down, sometimes staying one night at our place, sometimes staying at her place, sometimes staying at his dad's or somewhere else. And there was a lot of stuff going on at the time where me and my two brothers were drinking. Our dad and our brother had a lot of friends that were, tweakers and just stupid stuff. We had a lot of friends at the time because we didn't care what people did as long as they were right by us. And there was people that screwed us over we got into fights with, or people that screwed us over that we just dropped as friends and told to stay away from us. And there was like a lot of just different crap at the time. And anyway, so like I was still in the middle of like doing certain things, like I said about like the whatever for money and such that I was, that I was ashamed about, and um, everything. And I was drinking all the time, and I was even panhandling for $10 or $20 sometimes, just so we can have a bottle and cigarettes and etc. And I wasn't living right, and I thought like before, like the same even then, that if you repent or whatever, then God knows your heart, then you're saved, because once you accept Jesus, and as long as you repent for your sins, then you go to heaven. But that's not true, because then you can't live in sin. If you're truly saved and truly want to live for God, then you'll turn from all those things. You won't intentionally go out there looking to sin every day and doing things that are detestable, and things that are a sin to God that's just going to build up, make him angry at you, make him mad, make him hurt, because you want to go out and live for yourself and not for God. Anyway, so the end of like September, October of 2014, our brother's friend and our dad's friend who were dating, they both had a big old argument. And so she ended up having her daughter's boyfriend, and some people that his relatives or whatever, friends, they came over to our apartment one day, and I was sleeping, and they were trying to force their way in. They were twisting the door out. They were trying to, like, I don't know if they were trying to kick it in, but I know they were banging, trying to, whatever. They were running their mouth and stuff, and I was angry. And I've, in the past growing up, turned away from fights because of, being whatever, afraid here and there. But as I got older, I stood up to, all the people, didn't just back down anymore. I just, screw it, I mean, pain's temporarily, like it'll heal, and what else, if I get a black eye or two, who cares? I mean, I'd rather have a black eye for a month or whatever, and know I stood up and I did my all, and I gave it my all to fight, and didn't cower down from some punk or bully. Anyway, other than living the rest of my life wondering, well, what would have happened if I did stand up to him, and then have it haunt me for the rest of my life that I got bullied and didn't do anything. So anyways, long story not short. So when that happened, I went out, and me and him got into it, and he basically, it was him and his two people and me and my two brothers and our dad, but one of our brothers wasn't so much in the physical fight as he was just trying to break it up. Our dad and this old guy got into it, and then the old guy was going around hitting other people, and my other two brothers. And so at one point, the youngest brother, he got distracted by that guy and was chasing him, and other neighbors of ours saw it. But basically, so this is how the fight went down. When I opened the door, I went out in the hallway, I ran at him, at the main guy, and we got into it, and I fell down the stairs on the outside of the porch, whatever. He got on top of me, started hitting me, and then he's telling me to get up. So as I was getting up, he tried to kick me, and I dodged it. Then when I dodged it, my other brother, the youngest one, ran up and got mad, and he punched him one time with a Superman punch, whatever, out of the blue. And when he hit him, he turned his back, and he was like looking like, how when the Power Rangers knock someone out and then they turn their back to him, whatever, and then they fall. It was just like that. And then he and that guy got into it some more, and basically I jumped up and got back into the fight too. And then the other people were there too, and all involved. And at one point, the youngest brother got distracted by the other guy going around hitting everyone, and that was me and the main guy, whatever, Scott, pretty much. and was his name. And me and Scott got into it, and he was standing up, and I was on the ground at one point, and I did a leg sweep, and then he fell on top of me. I was able to get him in a chokehold, and then that's when the big old fat dude that was with them went and said he's going for his gun. So that's when my other brother, the middle one, went for his gun, and then the cops showed up. The cops said that they looked and didn't find no gun, but that was a bunch of bull crap because they didn't really look. Anyways, so Scott, when I let him go, though, he ran and he went to the hospital and was all, I guess, butthurt for a year that he had bruised ribs and got hurt. So he was going around telling everyone, according to everyone, that he was telling them for a year that he wanted revenge. So fast forward a year later then, this was like September or something like that, September. And the end of September, he was drunk with his girlfriend, the same one who was his girlfriend's mom upstairs. So he was with his girlfriend. They came over to our apartment. They were acting all, drunk and tweakerish and whatever. They had a half gallon with them. They were like, "You want some?" And then they were like, "You got beef still?" They was like, "If you do, we could go outside and handle this." And, I was fine. He's the one that got his butt kicked by us and not the other way. So anyways, we were like, "No, we're good." And so I didn't feel right about any of that situation. So, cause when he was inside, he went to our door where he had, he went to the front door and he knocked on it like that. He knocked on the door, and I felt really off about it. So when that happened, I looked at my brother, we looked at each other, and then not even a minute or two later, he left. And then that's when I told my brother, I said, "I don't feel right about it, that something's going to happen, etc." He said, "No, you're just worried." He's like, "It's fine. Just drink and enjoy the night, relax, have fun." So I was like, "Yeah, I guess." And so the whole situation was, I was sitting in front of the door, like on the bed area where the table was, and then my brother was on the other end of the living room area. He had a drink and I had a drink. We're listening to music. Our dad was in the bedroom with a friend of his. Then our brother was in the bathroom or something, I guess, or I don't know. And so 20 minutes or 30 minutes that goes by after that situation when they left, and they kicked our door in. There was 4 guys, 2 girls, and 2 guns. And the one guy brandishes the gun because basically it's the one girl that he's dating. It's her brother. They went and lied to him and said that we touched her, which we didn't. And she was crying and everything and blah, 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 all whatever. So he got angry. He got a couple of his friends. They had got another girl. And it was, like I said, 4 guys, 2 girls, 2 guns. And there was one guy and a girl on the outside the apartment door, and then there was one guy blocking the apartment door so no one could leave, and he had a gun in his waist. And there was the main guy and his girlfriend, and then her brother. And her brother had the gun in his hand and was brandishing it. He went at my brother and pistol whipped him, or tried to, in the head, and our dad came in and got him, tried to get him from behind, like in a choke, whatever. And I saw all this from the corner of my eye. I'm seeing this as I'm fighting with the main guy, Scott. And, he's the main reason that all that happened and such. And so me and him are going at it, and then I take no credit for any of this. I never ever take credit for this. So because of the grace of God and the strength of God and love and mercy of God, he was with us. And basically me and Scott are fighting. I guess I'm punching him and he's scared and he runs and he trips over a weight scale thingy to, weigh yourself, a weigh scale. And he ends up breaking it because it's made of glass, and he falls. And then that's when basically his girlfriend's brother turns and looks and comes at me, and he points the gun right at my face, and I punch him in the mouth because God, I don't take no credit, it's all God. I punch him in the mouth like once or twice and then shove him out the door. Basically, God does that. Instead, I'll just say God punches him and then shoves him out the door. And I don't mean that I'm God. I'm just saying that God did it through me. I didn't do that. That was God. And so then shove him out the door, and him and all the other people scatter. And then that guy, Scott, and me, Scott turns around like he's going to go after me or our dad. And then his girlfriend pulls him out. And as she's pulling him out, he's like, "I want you." And I'm like, you don't have to, break our door down and attack my family. If you want me, just say so. So I'm all emotional. I'm pissed off and angry. I have another voice in my head or something, or that tells me they're going to come back tonight. So I talked to my brother. I said, "They're coming back." And he was like, "No, you're just overreacting." I was like, "Again, really?" I said, "I was right the first time. What makes you think I'm not this time?" So I talked to our dad and my brothers, and they're like, "Just see if we could talk to this person we know. We know this couple that runs this mission that's super cool, that's helped us in the past when we were homeless." And so I called them immediately. God puts that in me. I'm like, I'm going to call them. So I call them, and then 20 minutes later they call back and they have a room for us for the night. So we go to the room. Our dad has a blood in his eye from, getting pistol whipped. And then our brother, the middle one, and our dad go to the hospital for his eye. Me and my other brother at the motel room, and we have a drink, and I'm shaking up from anxiety and panic attack and everything. And I mean, worst that I've ever had in my life. And so it's so severe, and I'm on my knees trembling, and, because what could have happened. And it all happened so fast, and because of God, it all started and what's done in less than 2 minutes. I'm not making that up. And so basically, the whole thing was just, for me, it was a nightmare, but it was, God was with us. And so it was over fast, and no one really got seriously hurt. Our dad had a blood in his eye that busted like a blood vessel or something thingy or something sort of in his eye for like a week or two. And every time I looked at him, I got angry because of it. I had anger and resentment for a couple of years towards those people about it. But, an hour later, we got a call from our dad and stuff that they're at the apartment because the neighbor upstairs overheard those people. They were back in the hallway again. They were plotting to kick the door down again because it wouldn't have been that hard that time. Anyways, so the cops got a call and they had the whole apartment surrounded, and it wasn't that big of an apartment, only 8 apartments total. So there was only the entrance to the front and the back. That was it. One hallway, one exit down the front and the back. So they turned the lights out on that apartment and they ambushed them. The cops did. And I just wish that I would have been there, but it doesn't matter because anyways, so one guy got arrested. They were actually going to let everybody go, even the main guy, even though he was there. And my dad and brother showed up to identify him and they said that's him. They were going to let him still go, but it wasn't because of that they arrested him. They arrested him because the owners of the apartment showed up too after hearing. And then the owners of the apartment said, hey, didn't his brother, because he gave his brother's name, they said, didn't his brother actually die in custody and such and such a couple years ago, because his brother died in the police custody a couple years before that. And so he was stupid and gave his brother's name, and so that's when the police were like, that's true. So then they arrested him. He's doing 7 years. And the other guy, Cody, got caught later the next morning, but he did like 2 years or something, 1.5 years to 2.5 years or something. But we weren't trying to really press charges on him because he was sort of, he was dragged into it too. He was, sort of a victim as well. Like, I mean, if our sister came and told us that such and such happened, we'd probably go do something, maybe not with guns, but similar, attack somebody and hurt someone at that time, I mean, family's family, and that's all you have. Truthfully, you have your religion, you have God, if you do have that anyways. And so that's why things are different now. But I feel like that if someone attacks my family, that's the only thing that would make me snap. And so I know. Anyways, I'll make another video in just a second.